And go.
Go. All right. Welcome to the KDrama Show.
That's Ashley.
That's Kim. We're here to recap and relive our favorite moments from My ID Is Gangnam Beauty, episode 7, with you, our listeners.
We are going to jump right in. So this is your one and only warning. Spoilers are incoming. So if you haven't yet, go watch episode 7, then meet back up with us so we can talk about this episode together. Today's episode is titled A Male Friend. And we get just that, a budding new friendship between Mire and KyungSeok. But Wooyoung Sundae has started to vie for Mire's attention too, and he's beginning to get it, much to KyungSeok's dismay. Then we have family drama, family reconciliation, family drama, giant TVs. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Welcome to the KDrama Show. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Kim.
We're here to unpack your all-time favorite Korean dramas and chat about all the reasons that we find these shows so charming.
And so addictive, and we know you do too, so settle in with some ramen and a boba tea while we dive into the KDrama Show with Ashley and Kim.
If you have not yet, make sure you head over to our Instagram at the KDrama Show to check out Ashley's segment, The Ashley Tea. She's started to upload a lot more, so make sure you head that way and go check it out. Do you have a recap for us?
I have a recap. Okay, so episode 6, we had the festival, and we had some very uncomfortable outfits that the girls had to wear. We re-meet Young-chul, who was Mire's bully, one of the biggest ones who she happened to confess her love towards. And he realizes who she is and ends up spilling to everyone else. He knows her, what her nickname was of Tom, or horrible name. Mire stands up to him, tells him that he is a worthless jerk that has never changed because he never grew up and he is just trash. Get it, girl. Sua, of course, does her fake apology and just kind of pretends that, I used to have a prejudice towards anybody who had plastic surgery, but I never realized that it could actually be helpful towards someone's life. But Mire has finally started to realize, how manipulative Sua really is, especially with her words. Mire and Kyu-sung end up hanging out together, and Mire finally confides into her, "Hey, I know who you are. You've saved my life." So we have a really beautiful moment between the two of them. Next day at the festival, the girls have decided that they are not going to wear the uniforms. They're not going to participate at all, and instead try to humiliate the guys. Mire and Hyunjin were walking around at the festival, kind of go their separate ways, and Hyunjin also just tries to encourage her friend to have fun. And she happens to run into Sua and Jiho, and they get pulled into this really terrible, awkward blind date game that nobody wants to be a part of. But at the same time, KyungSeok also comes and sits at the table and instead asks, "Can't I just say who I want to go out with?" and points to Mire. Mire gets a drink spilled on her in typical K-drama fashion, and Mire and KyungSeok both go so she can get a new shirt. And Wooyoung stops at Hyunjin's booth. She's doing kind of like a fortune telling, but through psychology. And he realizes that he needs to be upfront with his feelings. That was our last episode, ending with Mire and KyungSeok getting locked in a room where she can't change her shirt.
Classic K-drama.
Classic K-drama. And painful.
All right, episode 7. Topic 1. Mire is an awkward human.
Oh my goodness.
He just makes an already kind of weird situation so much worse and so much more awkward by assuming that KyungSeok is trying to sneak a peek at her when he's obviously not that kind of person. He was literally just about to leave the room before you realized you were locked in there together.
Yeah.
I don't know. There are moments when you like trying to feign innocence is way more cringy than just approaching the situation like an adult
Mhm.
and just like, getting over it. But I love that he corners her into it. And it's not really in like an aggressive or manipulative way, but it's more that just he knows she's in a damp t-shirt. You're a bit exposed. You now have 20 seconds to get your shirt changed while I'm not looking,
Right.
or else.
This is the situation we're in. Past it. I literally have she's being extra weird about it and comparing it to being stranded on an island together.
Yeah.
Why?
I think I don't know if those webtoon shots were like from the original webtoon. I've not actually read it, but the characters look the same.
Do they? Yeah.
And again, like if she really didn't want to change her shirt, she could have just not changed it.
Yeah.
He can count down all. She doesn't have to change her shirt. I don't know. She's just being real weird about it. But I love that after he gets done counting, he doesn't actually turn around until she finally gives him like a verbal okay.
Mhm.
And honestly, has he ever really indicated that he would be scummy enough to behave otherwise toward her?
Not even a little bit.
No.
Just in general.
No.
Coming towards anybody.
Yeah. No. Yep. He's always been very clear with his intentions. Always been very honorable about things. He does not mince words. And he could. I mean, he could be that kind of person. He has the face of the kind of person who could get away with that crap, but he doesn't. Because he knows he has that kind of power over people. But the long pause and stare into one another's eyes after she finally changes the shirt is just filled with tension, which is broken by him letting her know, hey, your shirt's on backwards. And I just wrote gold.
Yes.
It's that super dry sense of humor that you like.
Yes. But I just like that he just is like, grow up. Like the longer she takes for it, he's like, you need to just get past this. Like, promise
Yeah.
the least awkward situation you could be in right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like sitting at that really awkward table like 15 minutes ago was worse situation right now.
Yep.
But what do I know?
Do you have anything else for topic one?
I do. I have that Sua is pouting at the table because KyungSeok had left with Mirai, and Mirai willingly left with him. And so,
Yes.
very, very much in her feelings about this. And Wonho just finds her, she's walking around, and he's like trying to cheer her up and then tries to get a picture with her. And I just felt so bad for him when the other guys come up and ruin that picture that he's trying to get, where it's just going to be him and Sua, and then other guys come in and they're like, oh, but I also don't feel that bad for him because Sua's not a nice person.
Yeah, it's
Treated you kindly in a genuine way. It's always been for her own gain. So why are we surprised when other people come into this picture frame and her reaction to it? Like, that's who she is.
yeah. Yeah, and she even goes so far as to like weave her arm through his, which physical touch in Korea is not really that common between like men and women unless you are a couple.
Right.
It's not really, there's no real casual touch. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Yeah.
it meant something to him.
Another point towards Sua for being the worst.
She's racked up a lot of them.
There's so many.
Topic number 2, clearing the air.
Finally.
So
KyungSeok and Mirai, like, I think they're like staring out the window together at this point because they're just like, well, what else can we do? We can't leave. And he tells her, I thought it was really cool how you stood up for yourself. That's a big deal, especially to call out somebody who tormented you and who's still trying to torment you. Of course, she has that moment of, like, a nickname from middle school got exposed, and that's just a horrible nickname. I hate that it, people now know it. And he ends up telling her that, I didn't actually know that. if anything, and like when we went to school together, I just thought you were funny. I thought your dance at the bus stop, like that made me laugh. It's like the only time I ever smiled that entire period of my life. And so it's just a really, I don't know, I thought it was a very cute moment. And for him to be like, I never heard that name, I never cared about that name. You were a bright spot for me. And it was just sweet.
Her comment though about how everyone wanted to be his friend, he kind of acts surprised at it because he knows that he was never warm or friendly to any of his peers. It was by design. So it made no sense for them to want to actually be around him other than they just thought he was good looking. And so I think he kind of views her as the one person that could have actually been his friend because of like their personalities working together. But she admits that she sees him, or she had seen him, as someone that she could never be friends with because of the disparity of their looks.
Right.
Which he comes back with saying, I have never really liked pretty girls. I've never really liked things that are pretty. And her response to that is, so you're saying you thought I was ugly? Like, that's what you got out of this? Okay. Girl, he's saying he likes you for you, and you think he's calling you ugly.
Like, I think I remember watching that and just, there's several shows where they talk about being cringe and your hands just going like this. That was that moment. I was, oh my God, girl, come on.
Yeah. Well, it's really funny though, because in the last episode, I think it was, we heard him call her cute. He thought she was cute.
He's always been
And
drunk.
it had very little to do with her actual appearance.
Mhm.
Everything to do with that he just thought she was someone who acted cute and had a personality he would like.
A cute person.
Saved by the Sunbae. I like how they ask them why they were in there, and Mina just is very honest and says, oh, I just needed to change clothes, and she just like stops, and they kind of look at her, and she just says good night and walks out the door. And they're kind of just sitting there like, did she just say change clothes?
Right, well, I mean, she's just being honest, but then also being just like, okay, bye. Like, there's no reason to stick around.
Yeah, no, there's no explaining yourself out of that one.
No, it's just going to sound
too late
at that point.
Yeah, exactly. But KyungSeok reveals that he sees her as a friend now.
Mhm.
And so arises the age-old question, can men and women be friends?
According
The way that what?
not according to When Harry Met Sally.
Not according to a lot of shows.
That's true.
Or people. The way that he looks at her while watching the fireworks show, it is obvious that he does not see her as a friend.
He is very smitten at this point.
And someone else is very hyper aware of this fact too, given the look that was exchanged there. And she does not seem very impressed. It's Sua.
It's Sua. Well, and then there's Mirai, who has no idea what's going on. She's still very unaware of the fact that he is looking at her and going, I like you so much. And she's just like, okay, cool. We're becoming friends. Kind of like Drax.
To be fair. What?
It's kind of like Drax from Guardians of Nothing.
Yeah.
I'm too quick.
To be fair, the last time she put herself out there, it did not exactly go well.
It's true.
So. And then it came back to haunt her 5 years later. Okay, I have a question for you. What do you think Sua's intentions are here?
I mean, knowing what happens in this episode, she's going to do whatever she can to try and at least get him to at least be nice to her. He can still spin that. if he's still nice to me, I can still spin this in some way that he is somewhat interested. But then, along with that game goes, oh, if I can play that he's interested, but then it doesn't work out, I can play victim and I can get sympathy from everybody.
So
I'm very good at that. That's just like a pattern that's kind of emerged already.
you don't think even a small part of her is interested in him, or is it all for status?
I think maybe a little bit is interested in him, but I think most of it's for status because that's what she's portrayed to everybody else is that she has a higher status.
Yeah.
I mean, we have 8 episodes to go. Things could change, but our track record is not necessarily showing something different.
Yeah. I've watched the whole thing and I still struggle to discern her intentions.
Like,
I was curious what your thoughts were.
I mean, I feel like part of her could if they actually say they actually did become friends, I could see them being like, oh yeah, I like this person because he's actually a genuinely nice human being. But she's just so manipulative, and I don't even think she knows her true feelings.
Doesn't have the level of depth.
Right. I don't think she even understands her true emotions towards anything because she doesn't even know how to be honest with herself.
Yeah, that's true. Topic number 3, Trouble in Paradise, the Doe family.
The Doe family.
The Doe family.
Oh,
Doe a deer, a female deer. So there is a text on KyungSeok's cell phone, and Ji-Jingle obviously still has it. And I don't fault her for checking the phone when it rings because I probably would have too in case, it's the owner trying to get a hold of you or the phone, or maybe it's another emergency. However,
yes.
she read a personal text, learned very personal information, and then immediately shared it with her sketchy best friend to earn brownie points with her. Big. Yeah. And the interesting thing is Sua doesn't really have a reaction to it, but she just seems more deeply irritated by the fact that she just can't land a catch like KyungSeok.
Again, that would be that question that you just asked of, is it interested in him or his status?
Yeah.
From that.
Yep. Although I'm not sure she would be that interested if she knew how bad things were in his family.
Yeah, chaotic and horrible.
I cannot fathom being sent away by my family for a bad grade.
No, not at all.
Like your family feeling so ashamed of you that they are going to hide you in another country as a child.
Yeah, she's what, high school?
Probably.
He is, so that is just...
It's cold.
Bizarre. Like, no. I want to throw it out there. Grades are not an end-all, be-all for your life.
I think that...
Specifically, so they are not an end-all, be-all for your life.
I think that Kyung-hee's brazen behavior is probably her way of seeking a relationship with her father.
Yeah.
But I think that KyungSeok is familiar enough with this really cold approach to discipline because he experienced it firsthand. And in the flashback they show, it kind of seems like his mom was the buffer between the kids and their dad.
Yeah.
And obviously it doesn't exist anymore, so he's just had free reign to terrorize them as he sees fit this entire time. Just kind of sad.
It's horrible. Like, you need somebody to be the other voice. Like, you need that balance.
It is school the next day, and there's a lot of
Chatter.
chit-chat happening.
Mhm.
Yes. I really feel for KyungSeok because I have been on the receiving end of an unkept secret before, and it is stressful and it is hurtful, but I've also been on the delivering end of an unkept secret, and honestly, it's just better for everyone if you learn how to keep your mouth shut. Just don't. Um, the thing that's most unhinged about this scene, though, is the fact that Mira goes to walk into the classroom and immediately clocks everybody talking and thinks that it's about her. It is extremely narcissistic in its own, like, weird, twisted sort of way.
That just shows the growth that she still needs to be working on.
Yeah.
No, the world doesn't revolve around you.
Yeah. You're honestly not that important to everybody's daily life.
Right. You're just
I should take your face is not that important to everybody's daily life. That's how I'll phrase that.
correct.
Important, but they get into class, and Sua asks Jiho, because she hears it too. She's like, "Did you tell everybody about KyungSeok?" And even she seems a little surprised that her friend is like so loose-lipped about this.
Right. That would be something that I feel like you would want to confirm with that person of like, I didn't mean to. I happened to see this. Is that really your family? Like, that would at least be an honest response. Like, I really didn't mean to look at your phone.
Yeah.
But I happened to see that.
Right.
But to just,
Well,
put everybody else on blast.
Yeah, it was weird. Anyway, she tries to make nice with KyungSeok by returning his phone to him, Sua does. And of course, KyungSeok clocks the open message and assumes that she was the one who spilled the secret. And he just looks at her and goes, "You really are the worst." And Jiho takes no ownership in that moment. What a great friend.
Yeah, that put her, honestly, for me, that put Jiho at the same level as Sua. Like, you really don't care about people. You kind of are just a crappy friend. Like,
she's the leech. She's the attention leech.
Yes.
She seeks the pretty person who's getting all the attention, and then she just like, you know what I mean?
And so, the fact that she couldn't even be like, "Oh yeah, I told this person I didn't think they were going to tell anybody." That just shows, like, if that's the type of friends that you have, yikes, girl. Like,
yeah, kidding.
That's not good.
No, well, and that should be a red flag to Sua, knowing that anything she's ever told Jiho is fair game at this point.
Yeah.
All I can be thinking about is now it's all gonna get aired out. But they're all sitting there, and Sua's kind of just like, "Geez, dude, that was a bit harsh." And then the teacher walks in, assigns the class a movie review to be done with a partner. But the little exchange that Mira and KyungSeok have after class is probably one of my favorites of the show. When he gives her this little playful smile and asks if she got on the wrong bus the night before, which she denies. And then she answers her phone, and it's Wooyoung Sunbae, and we get our first glimpse of jealous KyungSeok.
Yes. I thought it was adorable.
It was very funny. It was cute.
The clip that you showed me of Sweet Revenge, of him just being the petty, jealous schoolboy.
Yes. Oh, so funny. So funny.
But
topic 4. Oh.
4, yeah, you're good. Topic 4.
A mentor and a friend.
Huh?
Topic 4, a mentor and a friend.
A mentor and a friend. I'm glad that you have them all, like, titled. I certainly do not.
I do that so I can timestamp it.
Fair enough. So Wooyoung Sunbae has called Mirai to meet him, and I felt like I was him trying to learn any dance, like any spiral dance, like, you know. He's just trying to do the dance move that she had done on orientation night, And
Yeah.
I felt like I was him trying to learn a dance because it was so painfully like, and she's just like, "What's she doing?" He's, "Hey, how's it going?" I've been invited by the director at Kellen to like come, and they want you to come. And then as they're walking outside, he goes, "Okay, wait, how did you do that dance move?" He's like, "I think I got everything else. Like, can you please what what you're doing?" And he kind of gets it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's not as cringy as before. It's not great, but also
It is what it is.
it is what it is. I was watching because like when I saw that scene, I was like, "What is he doing?" Like,
He's something. This feels like a side of him that not very many people are privy to, because I feel like everybody else sees him as Wooyoung Sundae or Wooyoung the TA.
right.
Not many people just see him like Wooyoung the dude. And this very much felt like Wooyoung the dude, and I think she was very uncomfortable with that fact. You can see it on her face. She's like, please stop before you hurt yourself.
I really don't know how to teach you this, but I'll try. And then we can never talk about this again.
No one will ever know.
It's fine. But Jung-boon ends up going to the Berlin, the bar, to help Yujin out. And he ends up hiring her. And I think that's honestly for his own good to have somebody who can actually be organized. She's a very organized human being. So, doing accounting work or keeping things together, I feel like it's going to just be a good asset because he clearly is a
Well,
very
she's scolding him. She's like, you opened a business and you don't even know what Excel is. Like, that is bread and butter of any business.
yes.
But I love that he tries to play it off like he was testing her this whole time, and she's just like, yeah, no, bro. I know you're clueless.
Let's see what we can fix this.
Yeah.
Oh, poor guy.
Honestly, he's lucky after the way he treated her that one night.
Yeah. His
With
apology apparently was very, very good for her.
Yeah.
So eventually, within the next day or two, Jiho comes clean to KyungSeok about being the one who shared the information of who his dad is from looking at his phone. And we have a moment of KyungSeok just like, this is who he is. He is consistent, at least, and he apologizes to Sua.
Can I say something about Jihyo?
Yes.
It feels more like an attempt to stay in Sua's good graces than any real remorse on her part.
Yeah.
She
Absolutely.
apologizes and takes no real responsibility. All she says is, I didn't mean to look. I only told a couple of people, and now everybody suddenly knows. It's like, just say you were wrong. Leave it at that.
Yeah, just own it. People have a lot of respect for you.
Yep.
So like, I like this moment because KyungSeok is just consistent. If he's wrong, he'll own it. Just like across the board. But then what I didn't like about this is after Sua had found out who his dad is, he immediately did all of the stalking that you do when you learn a new piece of information about someone. And the fact that she is using I don't have a mom to try and bond with him was gross. I did not like that at all. He even looked at her.
Yeah.
Really? You think this is a conversation I want to have with you?
I think some of it was maybe seeing her in a new light. I and again, she kind of plays the I know you don't really think very much of me anyway, but what you said that was kind of just really awful.
Mhm.
Um and again, she's not taking any responsibility for the shadiness in her past, but
Mhm.
she is like jumping on the opportunity to make him feel like he was the one who wronged her.
Right.
Um and then she brings in like her broken home life as like a common ground between the two of them, like you said. I really do think that he takes pause and considers that maybe I don't think he took it the direction she wanted him to, and the fact that like, oh, maybe he'll confide in me. I think he took that as a moment to be like, maybe there's a reason you're as screwed up as you are.
Right.
That's what I think he was registering in that moment. Um,
It's him just making more of a informed judgment call.
yeah, he's got the full picture now.
Right. Not a,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, hey, let's bond over our mommy issues. Like,
No.
no.
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't like that on Sua's part at all because it was very manipulative because that is a game that
Yep.
that's the only game we
That's,
play.
yeah. Agreed. Topic 5. Rumor has it. ...
I just have an L in my head now.
Taeyong has the Sunbaes apologize at the after party, and the girls are a bit cheeky about it,
I
and makes them be like, super specific.
I loved how the girls handled that. I'm sorry. What are you sorry for?
Yeah.
Because they really didn't have any remorse. This is an assignment.
Yeah.
And so that for them to be like, why are you sorry? What did you do that you need to be apologizing for? Like, you want to or not, you need to take ownership in this moment here because
Well, and I'm sorry can be such a reflexive, like when my kids do something wrong, I make them say I'm sorry, and then I always follow it up with for what? Because if you can't piece that together in your head what the wrong behavior was, then there's really no point in apologizing.
yeah.
So yeah, you're completely right. But I also like that Taeyong actually apologizes for his part in it too, even though it really wasn't his fault. He still takes responsibility as their sanbei and their leader to be like, hey, this is also on me for letting them get that far.
And his apology is sincere because he's like, I do need to own this. Like, I messed up. That was not okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, what?
Oh, I was just gonna keep going.
Oh, well, I liked the next part that I have is like the girls going, okay, well, we can accept your apology, but we don't believe you until there's action put behind it.
Well, then Taeyong, he responds to that saying, like, we are all still classmates, and basically says there needs to be opportunities for everyone to just grow and learn from their mistakes. And I really applaud his take on that because, yeah, that's true. If we just keep hammering home, like, you did this, you did that, you did this, there's no room for people to move past it. And I think that was kind of his, like, hey, they said they're sorry, you need to forgive them, and let's all just collectively be adults about this, please.
Find a way to move on. And
yeah. Help them become better people. And he goes, they're still rough around the edges.
Are you sure it's just the edges?
Yeah.
A bit of like the harder shell here that we have to still break through.
Yes.
But in that moment, KyungSeok and Sua end up walking in kind of together.
Yes.
And everyone, of course, goes into the, do we have a couple here? Is there a couple now? And Sua, of course, soaking in. Hey, yeah, if I say it enough times, it becomes true. No. And so just looking at them and then just walking behind the bar and being like, yeah, I'm not, I don't need to dignify that with any type of response.
Well, she also wastes no time making it known that they arrived together because they are, quote, close friends now.
Mm-hmm. Yep, we've bonded over everything, and
We're close now. We're besties. We had one conversation that was one-sided, and now we're best friends.
oh, is that how that works? Man, I have a lot of people I'm close with. So many best.
Wooyoung and Mire, they arrive at Kellen, and they learn that CEO Hye-sung has actually been taken to the ER.
Mhm.
And they finally get to the hospital, and they learn that she has actually eaten spoiled food and ended up with food poisoning, and that this is actually not the first time. And Wooyoung kind of makes a comment like, wouldn't she have smelled that the food was not good if it's really this serious?
Right.
And the employee that's there is like, she probably hasn't told you this, but she has no sense of smell because she had an accident that damaged her olfactory nerve, which, yeah, anyway. And I like that he says she's kind of like a singer who lost her voice or a painter without her eyesight. Because Mita is like, hang on, this is my childhood hero.
Right.
And you're telling me she's a perfumer that has no sense of smell.
How does that work?
Okay. Yeah, exactly.
Well, and how traumatizing. Like,
Huh?
I said, and how traumatizing. Like,
Yeah.
the thought that you couldn't do what you've always wanted to do anymore because you lost the one thing that you actually need in order to perform that, like, that would be so hard. So hard.
Yeah. It's like the show Chocolate.
I've not watched it yet. It is on my list. Yeah. I think my sister watched it or started it.
Yeah. She's watched it.
Has she
We talked about it once. Yeah.
So do I need to watch that now and then like bring my sister on and be like, hey sis, you're now a guest.
Or guest speaker. Yes, I'd be all for that. Mire offers to stay back with Hye-sung while Woo-young and the secretary, not the secretary, while Woo-young and the employee leave together. And this is when driving in the car, Woo-young actually learns that KyungSeok is Hye-sung's son.
Mm-hmm.
And the employee kind of asks for discretion since, there's some weird history there. But
Right. Well, and that probably just changes his outlook on Hyunsuk as well. Just like, oh, this is potentially a person that I maybe need to keep an eye on just because of the connection I now have with the show of, career-wise, or crap, how do I compete with him now?
yeah, that and he's gonna be my boss someday.
Dang.
Topic 6: A mother's love.
So we're back at the bar at the party, and Sua is still trying so hard to continue that conversation in Kyunsuk had just had and try to bond, and he really could care less. He's not engaging with the conversation. Any response is very short, and like it's blatantly clear that he does not care for this conversation. This is not a conversation he just wants to have in general, but especially not with Sua. And in this awkward attempt of a conversation, Mire actually calls Kyunsuk, and he goes outside, and she tells him, I don't know if you want to know this or anything, but I'm with your mom. She's in the hospital. I just learned she had a really bad accident, so she can't smell anymore. I actually saw your mom in middle school. She came to the neighborhood that we lived in. So maybe she was looking for you.
Right.
And after their conversation, because he just tells her no, like, I have no reason to go there. But she sends him a text and says, you know what, this is where your mom is at. This is the room. This is the hospital number, like, for that. And, you know, I'm not going to meddle anymore. I'm not going to.
She's such a good friend.
Yeah. She's just like, I've extended this. I've given information. But now, you know what? This is up to you.
Well, and she tries to make him understand, like, this is not just some silly ploy to, like, get you back into her life, because that's what he's known, is the manipulation from a parent figure his entire life. And she's like, you probably don't know everything about your mom, and you're probably letting her just be lonely off on her own, and you really should give her a chance.
Mm-hmm.
And then the fact that she's willing to just bow out gracefully and being like, here's the honest truth. Do with that what you will.
Right.
And I'll get out of the way. But Suo is pissed. When she saw it with Mire on the phone, she didn't even try to hide it. She was mad.
Oh, yeah. Just the.
Well, and seeing, like, their classmates looking at them having this, again, one-sided conversation. And I think it's Sangwon who says, like, those two are basically parallel lines. And then Wonho's just like, you realize that parallel lines never intersect, right? He's so mad.
Well,
He's got.
that doesn't even make sense. Like, if they're parallel, how would they meet?
He had a good. He had a good point.
That was a dumb comment there, pal.
So Mire has said her goodbyes to Hye-sung
Mhm.
and gone out of the way. And KyungSeok actually does go to the hospital because Mire had texted the address. And he recalls, he's like looking at his mom through the window, and he recalls seeing her with that same male employee on the night that she left home. And you can see in his face that he's starting to kick himself for showing up, going like, I've been duped again. I don't know why I thought that this would be different. But then he's kind of thinking about leaving. He hears this employee say, you really should get like a boyfriend or something, because this cannot keep happening. And he kind of perks up. And then the employee also says something about how, I know you miss your children, yada, yada, yada. And KyungSeok starts to realize that maybe he had some of the details wrong all of this time.
Right.
And I think that might be the moment where Hae-sung is like, I don't want to be a bother anymore. You need to just go. And she turns and she looks and sees that KyungSeok's in the window.
And her heart kind of, like, you see, like, the expression on her face, it kind of breaks. Like, her heart is just, like, kind of broken, but also at the same time, like, it's mending. Because he is initiated a step in that direction now. So maybe there's that, you know, the white flag, the olive branch, the potential for, you know, reconciliation that he's needed.
Yeah.
These years.
For both of them.
Yeah.
Topic 7, a son's selfishness. Try that again. A son's devotion.
Like, son's selfishness.
Words are hard.
Okay.
A son's devotion.
Devotion. I like that. Goes Sungwon, so KyungSeok's dad. He is out campaigning, you know, walking along the streets, eating some street food, which honestly I wanted to try every single thing that he looked at. It looked amazing. And his secretary runs up and begins to inform him that his son is at the hospital visiting his mother. And the look on his face is just great. Cool. This is not what I wanted at all. And at the hospital, Hye-sung and KyungSeok, they begin to have this really awkward conversation. Because what other type of conversation can they have at this moment? They have no relationship. He hasn't seen her in over a decade. Like,
Well, he's still very guarded because he doesn't trust her.
well, yeah, why would he?
Mm-hmm.
He just left. And I love how she approaches the conversation with apologizing and not trying to make excuses, because any excuse that's going to be made, he would have seen it.
Yeah.
Through it anyway. But, she just apologizes, like, I didn't want to leave you. I didn't want to leave your sister. And we finally get a glimpse into the past and like what happens of, him also understanding that she doesn't have that sense of smell anymore, and her sitting in front of the mirror and just continuing to spray the perfume. That makes sense now, because she's trying to reclaim what she doesn't have, instead of what he always thought of, like, she sat there like a crazy person.
Obsessed with her work.
Right. We see KyungSeok actually stay. And that was very, very grown up for him.
Mm-hmm.
To be like, I don't know if this is completely true or not, but there's enough that I believe that can be true for me to hang out here a little bit longer.
Yeah. Well, and to go back into like that flashback a little bit, it basically shows that Sangwon was trying to push Haesung to abandon her work in exchange for motherhood against her wishes. And my take on this as a married person is, and this probably isn't very PC, but it's less that he asked her to do it and more that the way that he asked her, or rather told her. He belittled her aspirations. He tried to manipulate her into becoming essentially a political pawn for his campaign.
Right.
The whole nuclear family, keeping up with the Joneses for the sake of an election. It was all about image for him, and the fact that he had a wife that seemed like she needed something outside of the family to fulfill her. He didn't like the way that looked. And so he boxed her in essentially and said, you will stay here. You will be subordinate to me. And then he just yeah.
Yeah, rather than, I mean, I'm a single person, so I can only see it. I obviously have zero experience with it. But it's not that she didn't love being a mom.
Mm-hmm.
She loved being a mom. She loved her kids, clearly. KyungSeok has good memories with his mom. But also she loved her job. She loved what she did. And her husband, literally, it was just telling, not, hey, let's have a conversation. Let's see how maybe you could still do this on the side, do more part-time, or do, be part of producing events, rather than you are done. You will do as I say.
Yeah. Yeah, and I just think that when you're coming from an abusive, manipulative perspective of it, of course he's going to impose his will on her. I think in healthy marriages, though, there's always give and take.
Right.
And your family should, in theory, come first. And sometimes that means that moms have to work, and sometimes that means that you have to be more frugal because you're on one income. And the way he approached and delivered his
Demands.
intentions, that was not it.
Very, very
Not it.
very not it.
Where's the red flag guy when you need him?
Yeah.
Not my sister in Christ. Okay, anyway.
Outside of this, Sungwon is very upset that his son decision to go visit his mom.
Mm-hmm.
And It is not a good for anyone.
Well, his secretary is even like, why are you trying so hard to keep them apart? Is there something that she might tell KyungSeok that would get him to abandon you? And Sungwon just gives him this look like, do not speak another word if you want to keep your job.
I will fire you immediately.
Will disappear.
Yikes.
I know.
Right. Topic 8.
Topic 8, a father's selfishness.
That makes a lot more sense.
Yep.
Yes. So KyungSeok gets home and his father pulls him into his office. And this moment reminded me of like a principal's office. Not having
I have that exact note.
like it's not having a conversation with your dad. It is, you were in trouble, you've been sent to the principal, you're gonna have a conversation, and if this was the old days, here's the paddle.
Yeah.
We're gonna beat this out of you. Like
It reminds me season 1 of One Tree Hill. Nathan and his dad, Dan.
yeah,
There's no love there.
no.
It is all
Yeah. And someone just kind of goes into this, like, I understand that you may have missed your mom, but like she did a terrible thing. She had an affair and she abandoned you.
the subtle jabs, trying to play his friend.
And I love KyungSeok just goes, why did you lie?
Eye contact. It's intense.
This is KyungSeok just being a man about this conversation. He is the adult in the conversation.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate.
It is. But the switch you see in like Sungwon, from like Sungwon the politician to Sungwon the scorned man, I don't know. He just like
The manipulator.
Yeah. He's like, I didn't want to have to do things this way.
Mm-hmm.
But he's mad because she was, faking sickness. And that's when KyungSeok realizes, I've been tailed this whole time. You've had people spying on me.
Constantly.
Just to avoid a conversation with my mother. And he defends her saying she wasn't faking, and he brings up the accident, and Sungwon gets this look of like defeat on his face, and he starts to say that it was, quote, only once. I hit her once by accident. Your reaction to this development?
I think I told you, because when I took the notes for this was a week ago, and I remember getting to your house and being like, I was not expecting that. That
yeah,
was a plot twist that I was. I mean, it makes perfect sense of why she was just like, I can't live like this. Like, you ruined my life. Not even can I not do my job, I couldn't tell if my family was in danger. Say there was a fire, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't be able to smell the smoke. But the betrayal on KyungSeok's face of, wow, not only are you just a politician, but you are a liar, you are a fraud, and you are an abuser and a terrible human being. Like, there's a reason why I don't like people, and it is people like you that have made this completely why I can just clock everything. That's why he can look at Sua and be like, I can read you like a book. But it, and the fact that Hye-sung just called it an accident is beyond gracious. And it's just like not wanting to talk about what actually happened. Because why would you want to be like, oh yeah, this politician who's supposed to be running for whatever office, oh yeah, by the way, he hits people. Like, he hit me and ruined my life. Like, that's probably
Mhm.
trauma and a whole lot of drama she just doesn't want to deal with.
Yeah.
But I think I paused it and went, what?
Do you like this plot development?
Um, yes, and also no, because I don't like abuse at all, and I hate anything that has to do with it, obviously. But it is, like, it makes everything make perfect sense of his mom leaving, of why she seemed like a crazy person, you know, and
Because
it,
I could abusers too.
right. But it paints his dad in this new way that is just like, you will do whatever it takes to do whatever you want to get things done your way.
Mhm.
So yeah, it was a very unexpected but very, like, I think important piece to have in there, because I don't know how else they could have made the story work for just how the characters
Mhm.
on each other, I guess.
Yeah.
KyungSeok, I am surprised he held back and didn't just punch his dad. I mean, I'm talking about not liking violence and be like, his response is amazing. And he looks at his dad and goes, you ruin lives, your lives. And it would have been better if I had been raised alone.
Yep.
I felt like that was the best response and grown up.
The fact that when Sangwon tells him, "All right, then you can just leave,"
Mhm.
thinking like you won't do it, and then KyungSeok says, "I bet you told mom to leave just like this," and then walks out the door.
Oof.
Oof.
Ouch.
Yeah.
But
Rough. We see the chink in his armor though, and his carefully constructed house of cards is starting to topple, and it is truly his own fault. No one outed him but himself, which is hilarious.
yeah, you shot yourself in your own foot.
Yep.
So
Down for the back.
you done messed up, Ron.
You done messed up, Aaron. DeQuellen. Topic 9. One big happy family. Mire has gone home for a visit, and we see genuine effort from her father to be a family again.
Mhm.
And also that hot meal looked amazing. How do I get an in?
Yeah.
Just kidding. At dinner though, then Shim says, "You worry about her all the time, but you can't even look at her face." And he goes, "Yes, I can." And he gives her like this serial killer stare, and Mira just kind of goes, "Yeah, it's a little awkward, isn't it?" And he goes, "No, no, 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 no." He does it again. And then he just goes, "It turned out nice." The decision is then made to go to noraebang or karaoke,
Mhm.
and that's hilarious because you can tell there is a history there,
Oh,
and mom is not happy.
that's not her.
Dad is stoked. No, it's not her cup of tea. But you can see that Mine gets her love of music and dancing from her dad,
Mhm.
because that's something clearly bonded over through the years.
And
Just super cute.
they were going hard. Like, they are sweating and they're like breathing hard, and he goes, go add some more time. She's like, okay, and they're her mom.
I know.
feel like
But
I feel like that will be me at like the end of, like, if I was there for like 2 hours and I'd be like, okay, I'm dead now. I don't have any more energy. Not because I just had no desire to be there. I think that's the I now have like I'm tapped out.
yeah, yeah, that's funny. Kyunghee tells Sungwon that KyungSeok has left. and he has arrived at what he thinks is Eugen's apartment, but Eugen's apartment is now the back room of Berlin. So he's gone from this beautiful, like, penthouse apartment in this skyscraper to living in the back of his bar. 'Cause that's all he can afford. Um, and KyungSeok walks in and he's kind of being a little judgy. He's like, seriously, this is the best you could do. And Eugen reminds him, like, hey, buddy, you're in the same boat as me. We are both penniless and we both left home penniless without a plan. So, like, save your judgment for somebody else.
You're lucky you still have a place to go to.
Exactly. It's funny.
For you. But we also at the same time we see Sua. She has walked down to her neighborhood, convenience store, picked up some things, and we see Un has walked up to go to the same store and see Sua and was like, hey, what are you doing here? Like, I thought you lived over in this area. And Sua is trying very hard to be like, oh, yeah, I just recently got here. Like, this is a new development. I'm just kind of trying to figure out what's going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
Let's own it.
Un is suspicious of Sua's secrecy. Obviously, you can see it in her face.
Mm-hmm.
Here's my question to you. Do you think it's malicious?
For Un?
Yeah. Is she Ji-hyo with it, you think?
No, because at least so far, her track record is just more of, if anything is going to be said, it's going to be out of concern. Making sure someone's okay, not, oh my gosh, did you hear? Like how Sua did.
Yeah.
Of like, oh my gosh, did you hear that Mireille and KyungSeok went to the same middle school? Like, why wouldn't they tell us about it? And I think if she does say anything, it's going to be like either to Sua or just be like, hey, are you okay? Like, is there anything like, need anything? Not, hey, let me see how I can spread a rumor and
Yeah.
make miserable. Because she doesn't seem to be that type of friend or character, at least thus far, that we have seen. So, no, I don't think she's going to be malicious.
Okay.
Like, not, she betrays me, I'm real upset. About the fact that there is no continuation with Juno Flow and Chunjun. Like that. I'm so upset about that. Still.
That is fair. That is a fair thing to be upset about. I also am a little upset about it, but, can't win them all.
Fine.
Noraebang was a massive hit with 2/3 of the Kang family. Taeshik and Mireille walk hand in hand, and they finally fully make amends with one another as they realize, hey, our relationship can actually grow stronger through everything that we've been through together. But Taeshik he called himself selfish, and then he turns and calls her pretty. And she acknowledges for him that he had gone through a difficult time with this whole transition, and she actually apologizes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a really, really sweet moment that kind of ties up all of those loose ends,
Right.
for the two in their character arc. But I love that at the end of this conversation, as they're walking home, he goes, by the way, I forgot to sing the new BTS songs. Do you know the album he's referring to? 2018, fall 2018.
I know.
Or late summer.
Is it Wings? Or Wings? Like the Wings album?
Close. It was Love Yourself Tear.
Love Yourself Tear. Okay, so that was right after.
So it featured Fake Love, Singularity, which was V solo, The Truth Untold with Steve Aoki, Love Maze, Magic Shop, Airplane Part 2, which was J-Hope, Unpack Man, So What, etc., etc. This was the first BTS album I ever listened to. Fake Love was the first K-pop song I ever listened to
Is it
on
really?
purpose. Yeah. Okay, I don't know what's happening.
I
You're
have
ridiculous. No, you.
no. Yep. Love yourself.
Well, I know what we're doing next time I come over.
Yes. Okay, gotta go put that back.
That's awesome.
That is the only fun fact. That is the only BTS album that I have.
Yeah.
I have their individual. I have everybody but RM, and Jin hasn't put out an album yet, but I have everybody else's,
Yeah.
at least one of their albums.
That's hilarious. That's awesome.
Awesome.
I do not have a record player, so I do not have any vinyl. But
Yeah, that is the only. That's the only K-pop vinyl I have. Their vinyl is just expensive, like across the board. So that's why it's hard to just be like, yeah, here's bucks.
I watched the Fake Love video,
Mhm.
and then I watched Unpack, and then I kind of DNA. DNA might have actually been the second one. Then Unpack, and then as I was watching one of their videos, I got a suggestion to watch Hwarang,
Aww.
Poet Warrior, and that was the first K-drama I watched. So, and I was like, I think that's one of the guys from that band that I started to listen to. Maybe I should watch it.
Look at that. I saw.
My heart out.
Oh, it's like, the second season of Jenny's Kitchen was
Yes.
filmed in March there in Iceland, and there is a scene that I saw of Park Seo-joon talking to a table, and he's asking how the food is, and one lady says, this is really good. She mentions Hwarang. She goes, that was my favorite drama that you were in, and he goes, that was so long ago.
It was a while ago.
Yeah, the amount of dramas he's done since then, to think back and be like, yeah, how many projects he's done since Hwarang. And I want to rewatch it, but I also don't want to cry my eyes out.
Maybe we can torture ourselves with that one later down the line. So our last topic of the night is topic 10, new beginnings.
We have KyungSeok waking up in the back room of the Berlin. That is his current residence. And the memories that he has of his mom have completely been altered now, especially with learning of what his father did, mom, and kicking her out. It has completely changed everything that he thought he knew. And this has forever altered his relationship with his dad. Because I know at some point we're going to have his, Kyung-hee's going to find out, and that's going to be an interesting, unraveling for her of who's even younger. So her memories are even fewer. It has been completely, manipulated by her dad. So that's going to be a tough beginning for her as well. But yeah, no, that just I'm excited to see what's going to happen next with that. Just because obviously after him learning about what his dad done to the end of the episode, there wasn't a whole lot of time for a lot of processing to happen. So
but they now have common ground. They have a shared enemy, if you will.
They both got kicked out by the same guy.
But Eunshim wakes up in the middle of the night. She's looking for her husband. She's looking for her husband, who is outside sitting in his taxi. and he is actually trading out the old photo for Mireille that he had taken when she was in middle school for a new one with her new face. And then Shim just comes at him, like, still annoyed that he is just lingering on this subject. And he just kind of very deeply says to her, "You could have at least let me say goodbye to her old face." And I think that's the moment where Eunshim finally realizes, like, the depth of her husband's hurt in this whole thing. And you think about it, you say things about people's kids like, "Oh, you have your dad's eyes, you have your mom's nose, etc., etc." He probably had some level of that pride, like, in his daughter. And when
It's
your kid's not everything, obviously, but for her to, like, reject that part of her is like her rejecting her parents in his mind, maybe,
yeah.
and kind of being ashamed of it. So I mean, that's how I would perceive it. If my kid was like, "I'm so ugly, then I need to change my face." It's like, well, geez, what do you think of me then? Because you look like me. So I don't know. I think that she finally took a pause and was like, "Oh, yeah, you do have feelings."
Well,
I was proud of her for that.
it hit her in the heart of like, I never took ownership for that decision. Instead, just made him like, I just nagged at him, like, just get over it. It's done with. And the apology that we finally get from her, that was a real apology. And I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to take that from you. I didn't want to hurt you like that. I just wanted the best for our child. And there was no, I'm sorry, but it was just an honest and true apology. And I felt like that was so needed because then now that part it's resolved. We can move on to, different story lines that, at this point.
I think that we as the viewers needed to see it too, because we were villainizing her a little bit, right? Because we're like, "Geez, lady, chill out." And now it's kind of like everybody's on the same page. They can build from this
Right.
collective hurt and get over it.
Right. We can move on and everything can be okay.
Yeah,
It doesn't have to
exactly.
be contentment anymore. We have Young Sunday getting, the final moving in done, preparing for the house party. Hey, what day works for you? I think this day works. What about you? And this group chats are great, but only when people like actually communicate and respond, rather than two people that are just like, "Hey, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this," then like nobody else participates.
Yeah.
Frustrating.
Yeah.
And they finally get to the party, and Miri's housewarming gift is just super genuine. She made a candle. I want those candles for decoration alone. Like,
I think it was a cologne.
I thought it was
It was a bottle.
I thought it was a cactus candle.
No.
No?
You say that, and yeah, on Netflix it is, but on Vicky, it was a bottle of cologne. Dude, I'm not even kidding. Right, I'm gonna look it up right now.
Believe you. Okay, I'm looking on Netflix. You look on Vicky. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
That is definitely a cactus.
Is it on YouTube?
Okay. I had 3 sick people in my house today. I take no accountability for that observation. I have seen this show so many times, and I knew it was a cactus, which is why when you said it was a cactus, I was like, "Oh yeah, it is a cactus. Why did I think it was a bottle of cologne?" I take no accountability for. Can you still see my face?
I can still see your face. I feel like this just needs to be an ongoing segment of Kim gaslighting herself.
I do this so much. I do this so often. What is wrong with me?
My favorite was that for season 1, like I keep saying the wrong title of the Thai or Taiwanese, whatever drama it was that I watched that was my first Asian drama, and then going back and fixing it and saying, no, I need to correct myself. You gaslit yourself so hard that you played it and you were like, dang it, you were right.
Oh my gosh. Oh man. Every day's exciting when you can't remember what happened the day before.
Right.
Anyway, back to what we were talking about. Mirai, like you said, has this super personal gift, and then here comes Hyunjung with the thing of toilet paper.
Which apparently is just like a customary thing to do, is when somebody's moved in, that's what you get, is toilet paper or like cleaning supplies of some kind. Every single drama
Yeah.
that I watch, that is what you bring.
Well, and that makes sense. You don't want to bring decor because you don't know what somebody's, style is unless you're like super, super close with that person. So cleaning products or sanitary things are usually a pretty safe bet. And I think that's kind of how American housewarmings work too, a lot of time.
And
To bring food.
especially the older you get, I'm at the point in my life, like even for Christmas, if people want to give me like a laundry basket full of just like I think my mom did that one year. And it was like some detergent in it, and some paper towels and like dusting stuff and all this stuff. And I was like, cool, I am set for a little bit. I don't have to go buy it. That is at this point in my life, that is the greatest present you could give me, is things to actually keep my house clean.
Noted.
Or like I've asked my family for 2 years to get me a drill for Christmas.
A drill.
I've been ignored. Finally, on Sunday, my sister goes, we have an extra drill. You can just have it. And I was like, okay, finally. It took 2 years.
That's awesome. It is just 3 of them, and it's nighttime, and Mirai is like taking photos of everything, and they all kind of start to ask where KyungSeok is. And Mirai checks her Kakao app and sees like the little one next to the message has disappeared, which, if you don't know how Kakao works, it shows the number of people in the chat that have yet to read the message. So when that disappears, it means he's seen it. But he pops up the steps with this giant flat screen TV that he lugged all the way there, up the hill to Woo Young's apartment.
Mhm.
Clearly not an appropriate housewarming gift, especially from your mortal enemy. Just kidding, mostly.
Rival in love.
Rival in love, that's cute, yeah. But I loved the vibe shift from creating deeper family trauma to resolving the really serious family trauma in Mirai's family to just like da, 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 da. Like it was just it was a nice vibe change. It was like the breath that we all needed at the end of a kind of heavy episode. They didn't let that linger like they do in Goblin for the second half of the show. But no, I really liked the kind of just the uplifting ending that they had with all of that.
Well, and I just loved Liam's face. Like just like has this flat screen TV that he's just held up, and he's just like, hey, where's this? And he just is like, okay. Sure.
And that's episode 7. Character of the hour.
Character of the hour. So we don't have our little boards. That's sad. But KyungSeok be my character of the hour. From comforting his sister, the Like when he's getting home and his sister's being punished, I mean, everything's being taken out of her room. Computer, her phone, TV, like she's being quite severely punished for a grade on a test. But he just sits there and he does comfort his sister for quite some time. I mean, until she falls asleep, really. But then, I mean, even his ability to recognize, oh, I snapped at Sua and she didn't deserve that specific response. And so like he still takes ownership of his actions, but then his willingness to meet his mom and at least sit through the conversation, whether or not he's fully sure he believes everything, at least at this point. But he does have that really needed conversation, and then his interaction with his dad of calling him out of, no, this is your fault. You did this. On learning the truth, being like, you know what? You are telling me the same thing that you told my mom. I don't need this. That's a lot of growing up and a lot of maturity for a 19, 20-year-old character to be able to recognize those things. That's just so he's my character of the hour. I do have an honorable mention of Nahe's song, of just her vulnerability. Just being honest with her son. Like, you don't have to believe me, you don't have to accept my apology, but I am sorry. Like, I did miss you, I did want to take care of you, but I still abandoned you, and for that I was wrong.
Yeah.
But she still doesn't paint his dad as the bad guy.
Yeah.
She doesn't tarnish him. Yeah, those would be
your characters of the hour.
Who are yours?
I think mine's KyungSeok as well. He's the only adult that's been in his family for years, and he is handling like the expose level of drama in his family like a champ, because honestly most of us would not handle it that well. But for having very few relationships, he has quality relationships, and I think that speaks volumes about him in spite of his upbringing to be able to have that in his life.
Right.
But yeah, that's mine. Final thoughts.
I liked this episode.
Yeah.
I did, because there was more like resolution of things that if we could just move past it rather than continuing to drag this out. But then, I mean, we still have our awkward, typical K-drama moments that obviously that's why we watch them. We love those fun little awkward moments, but then there's still that theme of serious that runs through it. And I feel like the story is progressing at a better pace now. And I mean, we are almost halfway done. By the way, we're almost halfway done with season 3. Quick. But yeah, I like a lot more.
Yeah, it definitely takes on, I feel like you have this sense of being like immersed into their campus almost. Where the roles that people are playing are familiar in terms of where they stand in like the social hierarchy. You have the nerdy friends who kind of commentate on everything happening, and then you have the pretty girls and the popular girls, and then the pretty adjacent girls who are always vying for attention, and then you have the guys just being idiots over in the corner, the girls constantly being mad at it. Like, it's so relatable in that way that you just feel like you're in their world, kind of. And I think that's what makes it fun to watch at times. And also stressful for things like
back to that.
You what?
Said I don't ever want to go back to that. College was a long time ago.
I feel like Sua's mask is cracking further. She is not able to hide her distaste for Mire's interference quite as well anymore. But we need more of her backstory because clearly there are some
There's stuff going on.
untrue, that we as the audience don't even know, but they have alluded to. So we need to see more of what's going on with her.
Okay.
I like that they wrapped up the major conflict in Mire's family, and she now has like her full support system to back her. It was kind of, fissured a little bit, but it's kind of back in full swing. KyungSeok is going to have to learn what it means to go from a life of privilege to a life of the working man. But at least he has good friends to get him through it. Episode 8 is my favorite episode of this entire series. I will sometimes go back and just watch this episode. I don't know why.
Okay.
But I just love it. That being said, I will have a very I'll have a different culinary experience prepared for us for next Friday.
Is that the picture finally?
Huh?
Is that the picture that we took at H Mart? Holding the can?
No, that is
Coming?
that is probably closer to like 10, 11,
Okay.
12. So a couple more episodes probably. But no, we've never talked about this. But you'll know what I'm talking about as soon as
Watch it.
you watch it.
Okay.
From my favorite comfort drama has come one of my favorite comfort foods. And I actually had it today. So, and it's not ramen.
Oh, what? That's one of
All right. Well, that was episode 7.
Like what you're hearing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on any new episodes. We'd love to connect with you on our Instagram at The KDrama Show. For more behind-the-scenes content, be sure to check out our YouTube channel. Links are in the show notes. Thanks for hanging out with us on The KDrama Show with Ashley and Kim, and we'll see you next time.